Hello and welcome to this video on types of mitigation. Mitigation is the act of reducing how harmful, unpleasant, or bad something is. Mitigation can help us prevent or minimize the negative consequences of various threats and challenges that we face in our world. In this video, we will explore 6 types of mitigation strategies that we can use to deal with different kinds of problems and risks. These are risk acceptance, risk avoidance, risk limitation, risk transference, risk sharing, risk exploitation. Let's look at each of these strategies in more detail. Risk acceptance is the easiest strategy to implement, as it simply involves the company taking on risk and accepting it. You may choose to use this strategy if the risk is so small that it may have very little impact on business operations. For example, a car manufacturer requires tires to complete their cars, and they determine that there's only a 0.4% chance that a major disruption could occur to their supply of tires. With the risk being so low, they decide to accept the risk. The benefit of risk acceptance is that it saves time and money that would otherwise be spent on avoiding or reducing the risk. Risk avoidance is the opposite of risk acceptance, as it involves taking actions that can avoid any exposure to the risk, whatever it might be. You may choose to use this strategy if the risk is too high or too uncertain to accept or manage. For example, a company that sells products online decides to avoid the risk of cyber attacks by not storing any customer data on its servers. The benefit of risk avoidance is that it eliminates the possibility of loss or damage from the risk. Risk limitation is the most common type of mitigation strategy, as it involves taking actions that can reduce the exposure or impact of the risk without eliminating it. You may choose to use this strategy if the risk is moderate or manageable, and if the cost of reducing the risk is lower than the cost of the risk itself. For example, a company that operates in multiple countries decides to limit the risk of currency fluctuations by hedging its foreign exchange transactions. The benefit of risk limitation is that it balances the trade-off between risk and reward. Risk transference is the strategy of transferring the risk to a third party that willingly comes forward to accept such transference. You may choose to use this strategy if the risk is too complex or costly to handle by yourself, and if you can find a reliable and competent partner to take over the risk. For example, a company that organizes events decides to transfer the risk of liability claims to an insurance company by buying a comprehensive insurance policy. The benefit of risk transference is that it shifts the responsibility and burden of the risk to someone else. Risk sharing is the strategy of sharing the risk with other parties that have a common interest or stake in the outcome of the risk. You may choose to use this strategy if the risk is too large or uncertain to bear by yourself, and if you can find trustworthy and cooperative allies to share the risk. For example, a company that develops a new product decides to share the risk of market acceptance with a strategic partner that has a strong distribution network. The benefit of risk sharing is that it reduces individual exposure and increases the collective resources of the risk. Risk exploitation is the strategy of taking advantage of the risk to create or enhance an opportunity. You may choose to use this strategy if the risk is positive or beneficial, and if you can increase the likelihood or impact of the risk. For example, a company that operates in a competitive market decides to exploit the risk of innovation by investing heavily in research and development. The benefit of risk exploitation is that it maximizes the potential gain and value of the risk. These are the 6 types of mitigation strategies that we can use to deal with different kinds of problems and risks. Mitigation is a vital strategy to improve our quality of life, protect our environment, and enhance our resilience and sustainability. Thank you for watching this video on types of mitigation. If you found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about mitigation, please check out the links in the description below. See you next time.